Hello, cyberspace. How are my winners out there? This is Brenda Underwood coming to you live Tuesday nights at 7:30. Mark your calendars so that you could be here live. You can ask questions. You can be involved with the entire event. So hopefully I am live everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you guys can all see me. So my name is Brenda Underwood. I am the Breakthrough Strategist, and right now I'm in a series called the Ultimate Goal Achievement Blueprint Series. And today we're talking about how do we engage our subconscious so that it can propel us into success instead of sabotaging us into stuck. Anybody been sabotaged into the stuck? Anybody hit that self-sabotage button called fear that just blew up a relationship, just blew up a job, just blew up an opportunity, just blew up your bank account? Anybody ever self-sabotage? If you've ever self-sabotaged, leave me a comment and say, hey, we're not alone. I have self-sabotage too. And so we're going to get right into it because I like to give you some gems. Let me see here. I'm trying to look at my chat. I like to give you some gems and some tools and some ideas right out the bat, right? As soon as you come onto one of my lives, I want to give you a gem. So first things first, let's talk about the subconscious mind, okay? So a lot of my studies come from Dr. Caroline Leaf, who is a Christian brain scientist. And hey, Anne, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining. And Dr. Bruce Lipton. And so we're just going to talk about the science. So let me be clear here at the very beginning. This is not New Age. This is not universalism. This is not law of attraction. This is good old-fashioned Bible, okay? Holy Bible, okay? I'm going to come with you with ideas from Scripture to help you crush your goals and crush your barriers. Anybody want to crush some barriers so you can crush some goals? Give me a I'm ready to crush it in the chat. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. 95% of all behavior is subconsciously driven. Okay, Dr. Caroline Leaf, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and many of the schools of thought when it comes to the subconscious mind. So if 95% of all of our behavior is subconsciously driven, then we need to know how our 95% works. We need to know what's embedded there because as I love Mel Robbins. She is phenomenal woman. I love her work. And she talks about how the brain is designed to protect you. The brain is designed to keep you out of the things that you fear. So that means that you have got to have a predetermined decision on how you're going to deal with fear. Because at the end of it all, in order for you, okay, so Xavier saying, I'm ready. Then stick through it. We're going to have 1 hour of steak dinner here. And he wants to crush his goals. And so I'm here to give you some tools to help you crush it and not have to work so hard to crush your goals. Anybody been working really hard at reaching your goals, but you've been discouraged and you've been disappointed and you didn't hit your goals, or your New Year's resolution already done went out the window? I got a text today from one of my potential clients that he told me, he texted me, he said, I got drunk today, Brenda, I'm sorry. And my heart just broke for him because no, I do not do drug rehab, but because I'm a recovering addict. Many people who struggle with addictions, they find a safe place with me because I don't have no judgment for you. I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in. All I have are tools to equip you. And so I could already feel his discouragement. His goal this year was not to drink. And already he's telling me, Brenda, I'm sorry. He's not even a client yet. I'm just helping him on the strength, right? Because he's struggling, and that's just my heart. And he already broke his New Year's resolution, and he got plastered today. And so please keep those that struggle with alcoholism in your prayers because that is one particular disease, alcoholism, that you constantly have to fight because when you go to an Italian restaurant, what do they put on your table? A bottle of wine. When you go out to eat, oftentimes there's bars. There's so many things to distract you. And so I want you to really know that there is tools and resources out there to help you overcome. Now, if you have an addiction, you really do need to work with someone who works in addiction recovery. But I just wanted to show that as an example. Already the 21st of the month, and the goal he had, he's discouraged because he got drunk. And so that may not be your story. That may not be your issue. But what I am telling you is if you'll stick with this live and you'll watch this series, I'm going to give you all the tools, tips, and gems that I could possibly give you for free. You know, it goes to another level when you're in a coaching relationship for free that I can possibly give you. And the first one is we need to know what's going on in our subconscious mind. If 95% of our behavior is based on our subconscious mind, then we need to know how to program it and reprogram it and to determine what's in our subconscious. So with 95% of our subconscious determining our actions, we need to get honest with ourselves. The first step to any transformation, you can't own what you won't acknowledge. So if you won't acknowledge that you have a particular issue or something going on in your life, how can you ever change it? So now with that being said, let me check out the comments here. So I have something from a nobody that says, stay positive. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. I love that. I hate calling you nobody, but that's the name that's popping up. Nobody. That's absolutely true. You get to determine what's going on in these 6 inches. But this is the key. I want to help every single person out there who has struggled with keeping your mind in check. It's not all your fault that your mind goes off. We are programmed with fear through our news, through our radio, through advertisement. We are programmed to be fear-based, right? And so fear is the sabotage button that we all have hit at some point in our lives that have kept us from moving forward. So, okay, Brenda, you've made it clear that 95% of our behavior is predicated on our subconscious beliefs. So that means that you can reverse engineer. You can take a look at what is the behavior that I have in my life right now I don't want. Remember, we don't want to call it good or bad, keep or change. Keep or change. What is the behavior I have in my life right now that I do not desire? Maybe it's I'm horrible with my finances and I need to get better because I want my money to make money for me instead of me slaving for my money. Okay, then you need to dig into your subconscious. I do this tool with my clients called the money mindset mining so that we can determine what's going on in their subconscious mind about their money thermostat. And so when you start to dig into what did you see when you were a child, don't discount anything. Did you see your parents go through repossessions or foreclosures? Or did daddy ever say, tell them folks on the phone, I ain't here? Or have you ever been told when they come to the door, don't answer the door because they're trying to serve me certified mail? What has gone on in your childhood to shape your financial thermostat? What has happened in your past that words like, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, or save money for a rainy day? What are those subconscious programming have you dealt with in your past? Those are all things that are going to live out in your behavior. One of the great book by T. Harv, Harv, Ecker is a phenomenal book that he has called, I believe it's called The Millionaire Mindset. And that book talks about how our childhood, ages 0 to 7, shapes our financial thermostat. Have you hit a wall? You can't get past 6 figures, or you can't get past 7 figures in your business, or you can't get to a salary of 6 figures on your job, then you need to take a look at what is your subconscious programming. You need to understand what's going on in your subconscious mind. Take a look at it. Yes, it may be hurtful. Yes, it may be painful, but let me give you this little gem. This is a gem. So write this gem down. This gem says that repressed pain becomes poison in the soul. So you may say, I just repressed it. I just didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't let it become a part of my belief system. But you keep your memories not just in your mind, but you keep it throughout your entire cellular structure. So you have to take a look at your childhood and see, what was my money mindset? What was the example around money? Was it always, we can't afford that, put that down, don't ask for nothing because I ain't got no money for nothing? That constant programming seeps into your subconscious, and then you play that out in different ways in adulthood. Okay, so let me give you, I just want to give you a tool right now. One is keep your word to yourself. Okay, if you are taking notes, I want you to write down self-worth, then I want you to write down self-trust, and then I want you to write down self-confidence. Okay, in that order. Self-worth is your foundation. When you feel like you're worth showing up for, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you feel like you're worthy of love, you're worthy of wealth, you're worthy of that next thing, then you show up differently if you subconsciously think you're not worthy. Okay, and I want you to understand that when your self-worth is solid, when you accept all of the who you are, the things you want to keep and the things you want to change. We don't want to call ourselves good or bad. We don't want to label ourselves with anything that God didn't label us with. But there are some behaviors we have that we want to keep and some behaviors that we want to change. When you've come to the place of whether you're going to keep or you're going to change that behavior, I want you to stop and I want you to really think about how you see your worth. Get honest with yourself. How do you see yourself worthy of love, worthy of wealth, worthy of being that next level executive, worthy of crushing that glass ceiling? What is your worth? Because your worth is going to show up in how you behave. So the next thing is your self-trust. Your self-trust, this is where you keep your word to yourself. The more you let your yes be yes and your no be no to you, the better you will trust yourself. So let me stop right here and let's talk self-trust. Let's just talk about self-trust, y'all. If you had children, I know that I'm talking to a multitude of people. You may be single, you may not have kids, but let's just pretend you have children and you have children in kindergarten that need to be picked up from an after-school program immediately at 5 o'clock. At 5:30, you start getting late fees, okay? And if you had a friend that said, I know you work late, Brenda, I'm going to pick up your daughter for you Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday so you can work late. And if that person picks them up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on time, no issue, how much do I trust them? I trust them a lot. But let's say week 1, week 2, week 3, they showed up. So my trust is really high because their words matched their behavior, right? So now I trust them. But let's say I get a call from the school week 4 and they say, hey, little Sarah wasn't picked up today. And now I've got to tell my boss, I got to leave early. I got to rush. I go pick up my child. I call my friend. I'm like, hey, Deborah, what happened? You were supposed to pick up little Sarah. Oh, girl, I totally forgot. Okay, we may give them a pass one time. But the second time and the third time they do it, then we will typically lose trust. And trust is very fragile. It's like a glass egg. When you drop it the first time, it may not shatter, but you keep dropping that egg, that glass egg of self-trust on the ground or trust on the ground, it's not a bouncing ball. It's going to eventually erupt. So when you think about that friend who was supposed to pick up your child and did it for a while, but then started being mishap, then your trust starts to wane, right? You don't trust them as much. If they keep doing it, you'll eventually ask them, don't worry about it. I'll find another way to get my daughter Sarah picked up from school, right? So that's a scenario I gave you in real life. None of us would trust someone who is sometimey with their word. But let me ask you the $1 million question. Your subconscious is watching you. Are you sometimey with your word? Are you sometimey with what you say you're going to do? Did you say you were going to not eat out and start eating out? Did you say that you weren't going to overspend anymore and still overspend? Hey, Nadia, I'm so glad you joined us. So when we start looking at self-trust, When we start to keep our word to ourselves, this is how powerful self-trust can be. When we keep our word to ourselves, then guess what? Our subconscious mind says when she says she's going to do something, she goes all in. She does it. And then guess what? When we start to let our yes be yes and our no be no to ourselves, we keep our word to ourselves, then all of a sudden our subconscious mind engages with us and propels us into success, because our subconscious mind knows that we are going to keep our word. So how do you keep your word to yourself? Don't say yes to anything you really don't want to do. Count the cost. How much time is it going to take for me to make this commitment and keep it? And am I going to really want to do this? Is it coming from a place of love, or is it coming from a place of obligation? Because we don't want to do anything out of obligation. We want to do everything out of the motivation of love. Okay? And so where do you get that from, Brenda? If God doesn't want us to give our tithe and our offerings to him begrudgingly, and he tells us, if you love me, you'll obey me. He wants us to be motivated from a heart of love, because our only yoke as New Testament Christians is love. The only thing we owe another man is to love them. Okay? So when we begin to look at tools to help us overcome subconscious sabotage, first things first, teach your subconscious that you're going to keep your word to you, that you're worth showing up for. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. The more you keep your word to yourself, then the more you're going to build self-confidence. And we walk into rooms differently when we have confidence, don't we? Confidence is something you just pick up off of somebody. They don't have to tell you they're confident. Matter of fact, if they have to tell you they're confident, they're usually not confident. And so what we want to do is we want to begin to keep our word to ourselves. We want to build our self-trust. So if you say you're going to get up at 6 a.m. every morning, then guess what? That really starts the night before. You need to go to bed around 10. That means you probably need to start winding down around 9 so that you can get up at 6 a.m. What are the process goals you need to take in order for you to show up for you? Okay, so first tool is keep your word to yourself to build self-trust. The next one, my clients love this tool. This is a tool that I usually never give out via open free platforms. It is a trademark tool with Breakthrough for Life called LTP. So what I want you to do, we're talking about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is fed by the stories we tell it. So in your subconscious mind, you're constantly telling yourself a story, right? And that's the subconscious mind, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton, is the habit mind. What you continuously do is what it records. So we need to take a look at the story we're telling ourselves. What story are you telling yourself on that goal you're trying to achieve? If you're trying to create passive streams of income and you keep telling yourself, oh, I've always been broke. My whole family's been broke. I don't never know when I'm going to not be broke. I've always been broke. So then you're telling your subconscious mind, create behaviors because she believes she's supposed to be broke. So create behaviors that keep her in where she wants to be, believes she's supposed to be. Not necessarily want to be, but believe she's supposed to be. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you believe I'm always broke, I'm always struggling, I'm always fighting a fight, if that's what your self-talk is constantly telling yourself, then guess what? You're going to produce behavior that coincides with that. So we don't want to do that. If you want to really dig into that concept, you want to research confirmation bias. Confirmation bias becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You believe that all men are dogs, then guess what you end up bringing into your world? That thought becomes a magnet, because that's what you're focused on. That thought becomes a magnet, and then the only people you bring into your world are dogs. Men who cheat, lie, steal, don't have any integrity. Okay? Confirmation bias. Are there men out there who do the right thing? Are there men out there who are faithful? Men out there who are honest? Yes, I've had the privilege of being in the company of many of great men. But I couldn't even see them until I dealt with the confirmation bias from my childhood of growing up where, Romeo and, I'm a player and, I got all these women. Growing up with music that personified men being promiscuous, women being promiscuous, I had a mindset and a worldview that came into dating that said all men are like this. And that's a lie, beloved. I want to tell some women out there are good men who will keep their word, who are faithful, who are honest, who want companionship just like you want companionship, who will fight for their marriage just like you want to fight for your marriage, that will fight for your relationship just like you want to fight for your relationship. But you have to deal with your confirmation biases. Otherwise, the story you tell yourself is actually a magnet to bring in what you are saying to yourself. So one of the tools that I use, and sorry, I got this space heater on because it is snowing in Gwinnett, Georgia, and it's cold. And anybody who know Brenda Underwood, anytime the temperature drops below my age, which is 50, I'm in my 50s, drops below my age, I ain't going outside. So that's why we're doing the live today in my home office, and I got my space heater on, and it's burning up my tatas, my tushy, because it's hot and I'm beginning to sweat. So sorry about the turnaround, but let's go back to the story you're telling yourself. You want a tool to hijack that story you're telling yourself? Anybody want a tool to hijack that story that you've been telling yourself so that you can switch that story so that you can live a life that you have always dreamed of living? If you want that tool, type it into the chat. Type it into the chat. So that tool is this. It's called LTP. LTP. What does LTP stand for? LTP stands for lie, truth, proof. So I'm going to teach you a tool that if you continuously use this, you can't find this tool on TikTok or anywhere else. You will after I do this live. I don't know if I'm going to split this live out the way I have all the other lives, but the LTP tool is this simple. Lie, truth, proof. What is the lie you've been telling yourself? So when you start feeling condemned, you start feeling like shame, you start feeling like you can never get to where you want to go, you start feeling any feelings that make you feel melancholy, that is telling you you're focused on something in your mind that is sabotaging you. So let's take a look at this LTP. When I usually teach this to my clients, I will use the example of I've yet to get married. This is my right hand. You notice I wear a nice ring on my right hand, but I wear no rings on my left hand because I'm not married, right? And so LTP, I used to have a client who would come into her meetings and tell me how much her husband couldn't stand me, thought I was too strong, too opinionated, my standards were too high, I expected too much out of men, no one could ever live up to what I wanted. And every single session, she would come into a coaching session with this narrative. And finally, I stopped, and this was rude. I shouldn't have done this, so y'all pray for me. I said, well, now I can see why we're coaching on why you want to get out of your marriage. Because your husband's hateful. If all he does is spend all day talking about how bad a person I am, I can only imagine what your home life is like. That was my clap back. I shouldn't have done that, but I'm honest. I'm a transparent coach, but I'm going to be really honest with you. This is where I had to use an LTP on myself because she had came in so many times with that narrative, and it hit a root fear of mine of, will I ever get married? Will I ever find someone that I can coexist and have companionship with? Most of the men who come in my life want to pay for me. They want me to be kept. They want to take care of me. I want a companion. I want someone who's my best friend. I want someone who, whether he has money or not, we can have a good time together. And so I'm like, God, am I ever going to find? And so her criticism, her husband's criticism of me hit to a core fear. And that core fear started to bubble up. And one weekend, I was down for a whole weekend. I was just crying, whining. God, why you got me all these Christian women out here and we don't have no good Christian men that are stepping up to the plate with character and integrity and love the Lord. And so God, after 3 days, God said, how long are you going to do this? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, what's the lie you're believing? That I'll never get married. What's the truth? The lie is I'll never get married. The truth is I've been proposed to 6 times. I have accepted 4 engagements, and I have the engagement rings. And one day I said I'm going to show the engagement rings in a live, but I have the engagement rings as proof of the truth. So the truth is there have been 6 men who wanted to make me their bride. There have been 4. That's the truth. The lie is I'll never get married. The truth is 6 men have proposed to me. The proof of the truth are the engagement rings that I still have. Ooh, and I know there's some man out there. You kept your engagement ring. Let me tell you what, sweetie. You cheat on me, you bet. I keep the engagement ring. That's my consolation prize. You don't like it, take me to court. Or keep your weenie in the pants, or cancel the if you want to cheat, just never propose. I mean, that's just real simple to me. So yes, I kept every single one of my engagement rings because they all cheated or did something that was an infraction. But do you see how LTP works? As soon as I got to the lie is, Brenda, you're never going to get married. That's a lie, Brenda. Stop allowing your emotions to attach to a lie. That's a lie. You have been proposed to multiple times. You have engagement rings as proof of it. So when you LTP a lie, what happens? The truth comes in and the lie has no more power. That's the LTP, lie, truth, proof. So that's a tool that you can use. The next tool that I want to talk to you about, and I wanted to come to you with tools that you typically wouldn't hear out there. There's all kinds of different tools that we use to rewire the subconscious mind. Dr. Caroline Leaf's book, Who Switched Off My Brain, is a phenomenal book full of tools to deal with toxic thoughts. But the first thing you have to identify is what is the story you're telling yourself? What is the lie? Cut that lie off with the truth. Cut the head of that snake off. Then you want to move on to what are you focused on? Okay. Now we hear about focus all the time, but I'm going to come at you with focus from a different perspective. Can I do that? Can I do that? Before I go to a different perspective, let me go ahead. Xavier said, I had a question. Xavier, I'm not sure if you're still here, but if you're still on the live, go ahead and pop your question in the chat and I'll try to grab it and take a look at it. Okay. So we're taking a look at focus. I want to come from this angle. I'm going to talk about focus from worry warts. Worry is faith, but it's faith in fear. That's what worry is. Worry is faith in fear. So when we worry, what if this happened? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? We are letting worry rule us. We're focused on all the what ifs. Back in the day, because you guys know I have a savory background. Hopefully, when they do the thumbnail picture, they'll catch this picture of me smiling. But I have a savory background. Back in the day, we used to say, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If was a fifth of alcohol, we'd all be drunk, right? How many fifths of worry alcohol are you taking? Because that worry alcohol is tainting your mindset. It is literally killing the dendrites in your brain. Did you know that your negative, toxic thinking is changing the chemical makeup of your brain? That's why God tells us in scripture in Philippians 4:8-9, think on that which is good, that which is pure, that which is praiseworthy, that which is uplifting. If anything is noteworthy, anything is praiseworthy, think on these things. So God tells us what we need to be thinking about. And he didn't say worry about your problems. Matter of fact, in Matthew chapter 6, I think it's verse 6, he says, why are you worried? Why do you worry about tomorrow who has enough trouble in and of itself? So God is telling you what to focus on. Focus on what is good, what is wholesome, what is praiseworthy. We think it's new age positive psychology. No, it's not, baby girl. It's Bible. Focus on that which is good. Put labels on you only that God gives you. Speak what is truth and what is love, what are apples of wisdom unto the hearer. So when we think about putting our worry to work, which is a Dr. Neil 4A concept, this is why leaders need to be readers. I'm not going to school for 12 years to have a PhD in procrastination. Bet not. Now, I may be going back to school to become a naturopathic doctor, but it will not be to study procrastination. But Dr. Neil Foray has his PhD in procrastination. And one of the things that he shares is put your worry to work. So I'm going to give you guys this tool to help you put your worry to work. And all of these things, as you create habits with them, all of these things begin to change your subconscious beliefs, which then changes your behavior. And when your behavior changes, your results change. So when we look at put your worry to work, I want you to make a list of all the things that you're worried about. Every single thing on your list that keeps you up at night, things that have got you concerned about your future, about your job. Are you concerned about a layoff? Are you concerned about AI taking over your position? Then skill up, get new skills. What are you worried about? First and foremost, make a list of all the things that you're worried about. Make a worry list of everything you're worried about. When you have your worry list, type in, I got it. I got my worry list. If you got 5 or 6 things on your worry list, things you're worried about, then you're going to take those things that you're worried about and you're going to think of what is the positive outcome I want to happen here. Okay, let's take my thing. I would like to, before I go off to glory, to have a wonderful marriage with a good man, with a good heart, with great compassion and can dwell with me with understanding. So my worry of I'm never going to get married got LTP, chopped its head off to the possibility that God is going to send me a God-fearing husband. And boom, now I have the positive outcome I want. Am I the wife I need to be for that God-fearing husband? Am I healed? Now I begin to focus on what brings that positive outcome to life. Okay? So maybe it's finances are an issue for you. Maybe it's health. I've talked about finances a little bit already. Let's talk about health. Maybe you're facing a diabetes diagnosis or a high blood pressure diagnosis, and you're worried about that. Rightfully so, you should be. Oftentimes, we are killing ourselves one fork at a time. So we want to get very conscious about what we put in our mouths. But we're worried about the health report, right? So what's the positive outcome you want? I have been fighting pre-diabetes for 17 years, right? My doctor kept telling me, you lose 50 pounds and it'll go away, lose 50 pounds and it'll go away. Well, we lost 70 pounds and it's gone. It's bye-bye, baby. But I stopped focusing on, man, if I'm a diabetic, my insurance is going to go up, my life insurance is going to go up, my health insurance is going to go up, I'm going to have to be on these pills. I stopped focusing on the what ifs and I started focusing on the what I want. I want to be healthy. I want not to have this diabetes diagnosis. I want to not be fighting this. So then I started putting all of my energy towards what I wanted to create. I put my worry to work. I started to write out the positive outcomes I wanted for all of the things that were on my worry list. And then I turned around and I started to commit those things to prayer. I started to put all of my energy to the positive outcomes that I want. And I stopped putting any energy to the worry ward. I put my worry to work. So if I'm worried about something, I'm going to think about the positive outcome I want, and I'm going to pray that positive outcome through until it comes to fruition. Okay? So that's another tool I gave you. So I gave you a tool on how to build self-trust. I gave you a tool on how to cut off the lies and the stories that we're telling ourselves. I gave you a tool to put your worry to work. Now let's talk about some pragmatic tools for goal achievement. When we're thinking about the subconscious mind, we want to be feeding this subconscious mind the positivity of what we want and what we're creating. One of the great ways that I do that is called a dream party. A dream party. Dr. E.T. has done a phenomenal job of doing a lot of work on this subject, but it's goal visualization, basically. It is write the vision and make it plain so that you can run after it. And though you run after it, Though it tarries, wait for it, it will come to pass. So we hear that a lot when we're talking about goal achievement. But can I take it to another level for you? I want to take it to the level of where you experience it on an emotional level. According to Dr. James B. Richards, you and his book, Breaking the Cycle, he says in his book that the brain cannot distinguish real from imaginary. So then when we experience what we are hoping for on an emotional level, then the heart releases the faith to see it through to fruition. So when we are doing a dream party, we want to be crystal clear on what we want. What is it you want to achieve this year? What is it you want to achieve in your marriage, in your relationship with your kids, on your job, in your finances, in your health? How is your relationship with yourself? How do you want to evolve? Do you need to be more self-compassionate? I know I do. I know I need to be more self-compassionate. I'm really hard on myself. And another day I'll share why. But at the end of the day, what is it you want? You want to get crystal clear and you want to write that out. Then you want to speak that out. I share with people oftentimes. You may want to put a voice recording on your phone of what you want your dream life, your winning life to look like. And have a dream party about it where you close your eyes. Literally, I have sand from every beach I've ever gone to, at least the beach I like. Some of the beaches I went to, I was like, I don't like this beach. I don't like this sand. So I didn't bring it back. But I have little containers of all the sand that I have collected from the different beaches I've gone through. And so I have some sand from Cabo St. Lucas. Dwight James, which he's now Dwight Mino now, sent me there when I left my job. He flew me out to Cabo St. Lucas, and I stayed in an all-inclusive resort. That was my first solo trip by myself. And I have the sand from that because that was a first. It was a precedent. And I will put that sand in my hands, and I will close my eyes, and I will visualize my home. No longer in Los Angeles. I had to find another place to visualize it because I used to visualize my home in Santa Barbara, California. And I would visualize me holding the sand, and I would visualize what my house looked like. I visualized the dietitian who came in to cook breakfast for my husband and I. And let me tell you, through these dream parties, God really healed my heart towards men. A great deal. Years ago, I did a live about it. May have to go find it and put it out again. But God really healed my heart because in my dream, I couldn't even see a man. All I could see was a shadow of a man. But through doing dream parties over and over again, God started to help me see the figurine of a man, to see a face of a man, not distinguished, but to see the face of a man. And I would see the face of my husband, and I would see my kids, my grandkids coming to visit me. My son's not married yet, but he's single too, good looking, and he loves the Lord. So you young girls out there, keep it straight when you step to him because he's looking for a godly woman. But my son is married and he's bringing his kids, and I visualize this entire life, right? And then I see it. I emotionally connect to it. This is the power of a dream party. When you emotionally connect to your dream party, at least 3 to 5 days a week, I suggest you take 5 to 10 minutes and you go and you emotionally connect to your dream party, what you want. Then you can come into the present and start bringing it to life. So, one of my dreams is to live on a beach, but we're not to beachfront living yet. So, my consolation prize is I go visit a beach every year and I stay a week beachfront. And I visualize that one day, this 1 week will become my entire 52 weeks. One of my dreams is to pay off single moms' homes, give them the deed to their home and pay 5 years of their taxes so that they can at least have a 5-year reprieve from the pressure of where am I going to live for me and my babies. Well, I can't do that now. I can't pay off someone's home now, but what I can do is I can pay for somebody's meal. I can pay for somebody's rent. If they're short on rent 1 month, I can, single moms only. I can help people in smaller ways. And because I begin to think on the level of where I want to go, I come into the present and my subconscious mind starts showing me, well, we know we're going in this direction. Remember, your goals grow you. Your goals are a bar, a pull-up bar that grows you. Your goals grow you. So my subconscious mind will say, okay, since we know we have emotionally connected with this place we know we're going to, now let me come into the presence and what are some process goals that I can set to reach that place. It's kind of like investing money in the stock market. If you won't invest $10, then you won't invest $100. You won't invest $1,000. You want to create the habit of investing. So, beloved, I've given you some tools here. Hopefully, these tools have been good for you. They're new to you. For some of my clients, you're like, that was what I paid for. Trust me, these lives ain't going to be live always, okay? But let's get into some pragmatic stuff. Habits. Habits are the key to reprogramming your subconscious mind. It's just like learning the alphabet. How many times did you say the alphabet before you got it automatically? How many times do you need to start telling yourself you're lovable, you're worthy, you're capable, you're able, there's nothing you can't do. The little engine who can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. We did that as little girls and little boys, but that's true now today. So here are some tools that I want you to think about pragmatically. Set block time. Reverse engineer the results. Okay, reverse engineering results means this. You look at the results you want to create, and then you determine the behavior that is necessary for creating it. And then what is the belief you have to have in here to create the behavior so you get the result? So reverse engineering results says, I want to be a 7-figure earner. Okay, what is the behavior that I have to have in order to be a 7-figure earner? I have to get rid of the notion that you work hard for the money, and I need to get the notion that I need to work smart with my money. So that's the behavior. I need to work smart with my money. And the belief is I work smart for my money, not hard for my money, but also the belief is I'm worthy of wealth. I'm worthy. I am capable of moving my financial thermostat from a 6-figure earner to a 7-figure earner, or from a $50,000 earner to a 6-figure earner, wherever you are in your next level of life. Get locked in on that vision and be very clear. Surgical prayers is what we pray. Okay, not ambiguous. God make me rich. No, what is rich to you? What is wealthy to you? What is financially stable to you? Well, Brenda, I ain't worried about money. Okay, God is. He talked about it 2,473 times, I believe, in the Bible. He talks about money more than he talks about sex, drunkenness, fornication, adultery, gossip, and lying. So it's pretty important to God. You may try to make it pretty important to you, but you don't want to worship money. You want to use it. It is a slave for you to use. It is not a slave. It is not something you slave for. It's something you make a slave for you. It is a tool, like a lawnmower is a tool that mows your grass. Money is a tool that creates a quality of life that you want. Use it like a tool. Don't serve it like a God. Okay? Money is nebulous. It has no meaning but the meaning that the person gives it. So when we start to think about reverse engineering, maybe your reverse engineering is, I want to get off of these blood pressure medication, which means that I'm going to have to change my behavior when it comes to stress, which you may be a great candidate for Dr. Caroline Leaf's book because she talks about the mess of stress in that book. So you want to get off of blood pressure pills. You're going to have to change how you eat. You're going to have to change how you think. And what is the belief you need to believe? That I can change. Let me tell you the one thing that was powerful for me coming into 2025 was the belief that I can change. After shedding 70 pounds after 20 years of trying to shed the weight and finally shedding it, let me tell you, my faith when it comes to weight loss and health is there ain't nothing I can't do. Because that's what results will do. Results will motivate you to stay disciplined. Whereas when we put motivation before action, then motivation is fickle. It's based on feelings. Motivation changes, right? So if we base our actions and our behavior on motivation, then sometimes we act, sometimes we don't. But if we will put self-discipline in front of behavior and do it even when we don't feel like it, then we start to get the results, and the results will fuel the motivation to stay self-disciplined. So with all of that being said, when we look at the subconscious mind, we know that 95% of all of our behavior is subconsciously driven. Therefore, we need to get honest with ourselves. What's in our subconscious? What behaviors have we picked up from our childhood that we experienced emotionally and via example, and what we heard from the authority figures around us who were dealing with money when we were young? That really programs us, and we need to get honest with what we were taught so that we can relearn and we can unlearn. There's some things we need to unlearn, beloved. So we want to unlearn some things that have nothing to do with moving us forward. We want to keep our word to ourselves so we can build our self-trust, because when we feel like we're worth showing up for, then we keep our word to ourselves, which builds our self-confidence. So self-worth, self-trust, self-confidence. Then we want to really LTP the story we're telling ourselves. We want to lie, truth, proof it. I call it the machete of chopping the head off of the lies of the enemy that will come your way. Is the LTP tool. Then we want to have dream parties. We want to focus on what we want, not what we don't. Then we want to have block time where we give our goals room to live on our schedule. Block time. But I also want you to reverse engineer your results. What's the results you have in your life you don't want? What is the behavior that you have that's creating the results you don't want? What's the belief that is fueling that behavior? And change that to a result you do want, a belief that is adjusted to create the behavior of the results you want. Reverse engineer your results. And I think that is a whole lot of information for one night. But I'm going to leave you with one more, because I like for my lives to be full of tips where you got to pull out your pen and paper. I want you to create some guilt-free playtime in your day. So I am a big believer in work-life balance. So I have 1 hour a day where I can play video games. I can read a book. I can sit and just drink some tea for an hour and just look out the window and vegetate if that's what I want to do. It's called my guilt-free playtime. During that hour of my day, which I use it as a reward. So it is a small win reward for me that when I put in a full day's work, I have given value to people. Then I come back and I just chill. I play video. There's a game I play on my phone. I play video games. I'm playing chess with a good friend of mine now, whipping his booty in this chess game. I just do guilt-free playtime. I've earned it. You've earned it, beloved. Whether you have a house full of 5 kids, go in the bathroom, do a bubble bath, train your kids that when you're in the bathroom doing a bubble bath, they can't come in there unless the house is on fire, literally, okay? Don't tell them don't set the house on fire to come in there. Just if the house accidentally catch on fire, then you come in there, okay? That's what I trained my son to do when he was young. He would not come. If he could hear me in my prayer room, he would not knock on the door. He would not come in. And so find yourself, maybe you can't do an hour. Maybe you can do 30 minutes, but find yourself some guilt-free playtime, because what gets rewarded gets repeated. So we want to reward the efforts we're putting in every day to change the trajectory of our future. And beloved, I didn't even introduce myself. I'm so sorry. We're at the end of this live. And so let me introduce myself. My name is Brenda Underwood, and I am the Breakthrough Strategist, Coach BU. And I like to call myself Coach BU because I love to help people be authentically who God created you to be before life happened to you. How do you heal from the traumas of your past? How do you grow into the person you want to be? How do you, as women, own it all from the bedroom to the boardroom? I believe if the Proverbs 31 woman can have it all, that women today can have it all. So what is Miss Ann saying here? So much wonderful, constructive information we can use. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Ann. I so appreciate it. I so appreciate you showing up and watching this whole 1 hour steak dinner that I deliver every Tuesday at 7:30. I'm coming to deliver some steak dinner to y'all. And so I hope you got a lot out of it. With that being said, I have dedicated my life to helping people crush the barriers that keep them from crushing the goals for them to have their next level of living. Particularly if you are looking to become a certified life coach, I have a certification class that you can get certified, which is a coaching laboratory. I also do one-on-one custom coaching. This is not box cutter coaching. It's not group coaching. It is one-on-one coaching where we get into what uniquely drives you subconsciously, and we get into rewiring your brain so it can propel you forward into success, into the life you want to live. So that is one-on-one coaching, and I do one-on-one coaching for barrier breaker. One-on-one, that means we just focus on crushing fear, crushing procrastination, and every single barrier that would hinder you: time management, lack of work-life balance, lack of confidence. That's the Barrier Breaker program. And we're going to spend some time and we're going to dig into that program, and we are going to transform your life in 10 weeks or less in the Barrier Breaker program. The Workplace Exit Strategy program is if you are frustrated with your job, do not just quit your job. Do not just walk out of your job. God is strategic. He is not impulsive. Get with a strategist so that you can figure out, how do I do the intangibles that are necessary so that I can exchange my paycheck for a profit check? Or I can exchange this career for a new career. A workplace exit strategy is the program that is set up to help you launch into your next level career. Maybe that's an entrepreneurial career. Maybe that's a career in corporate, just at a new company or in a new industry. Then we have the business blast. If you already have a fully functioning business that you currently make a living off of, then I have a business blast one-on-one coaching program for business owners to help you scale your business to the next level. Let me give you a tip on scaling your business to the next level. Scaling your business to the next level is all about sales, staff, and systems. And I help you with all three of those in the Business Blast program. Those are the one-on-one coaching programs that I offer that are custom to you. They all require a discovery call to be had. They all require a discovery call to be had. So if you are looking to change the trajectory of your future, please schedule a discovery call. I have opened up a lot of time this month and next month for you to do discovery calls so we can get in there and we can really help to change the trajectory of your future by setting goals that are achievable and putting in together a blueprint for goal achievement. So now, with that being said, who's going to schedule a free discovery call this week so that you can have a free 45-minute call with me, not with one of my staff members, not one of my certified coaches, a discovery call with me, and we are going to dig into how do we help you reach your goals in 2025. What is your next level plan? So this is Coach BU, the Breakthrough Strategist, signing off with peace and love. Much love to you. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.